The first head coach firing of the NFL season happened, and that coach still has more wins than Bill Belichick this year. Josh McDaniels is out.
He beat Bill Belichick earlier this year.
Well, I mean, he's beat him a few times.
It's really bad ownership. Go ahead.
He is out as the head coach of the Raiders, as is the general manager, Dave Zeigler. All of this on the heels of a Monday Night Football loss that had an entire first half where not one Raiders receiver caught a pass. The locker room started to turn this past week. There was a team-only meeting before Monday Night Football. Davante Adams was saying to the press that he had never signed up for this, saying he was only there to play with Derek Carr. I mean, listen, I don't blame this. And then there was like the whole beginning of the season, which this part I actually don't blame Josh McDaniels on, but I mean, the whole Chandler Jones thing, you know, with locker room chaos, with him looking like a maniac before the season even started.
They had a first-round pick that killed a guy going 200 miles an hour in a car. I'll tell you this, is that, first of all, you fire Zeigler after the trade deadline? Like, what do you, like?
Don't need him now.
Well, but you kept Davante Adams. You didn't do anything at the trade deadline.
Maybe maybe they're mad about it. Maybe he wanted him to.
Well, I'm the owner of the team. They have to do what I say. So I would have gone, and I would have said trade Davante Adams. Like, he's 30. He doesn't do us any good. Go trade Davante Adams. Go. The first thing he's bitching about the team. Trade Josh Jacobs, for Christ's sakes, if you can. But you could certainly get something for Davante Adams. So trade him. So instead, you have two guys that know that they're in position that they might be fired. There's no way that it was like some big secret. Apparently, there were rumblings about this anyway. And then you let them go through the trade deadline. And you had promised McDaniels that you were going to give him through. You publicly promised McDaniels you were giving him through the 2024 season.
But things can change if the locker room.
I would have,
know?
Okay. So listen, I hire. First of all, I have to pay him for 4 more years, and I don't have any money.
Well, let's get to that. Because
hang on. I don't want to get to that right now because I want to justify what I'm saying. Things change in the locker room. Move Davante Adams. Davante Adams has a point. Like, he didn't come there to be on like some rebuilding team, but you're rebuilding. So trade him. That would make all the sense in the world. You're not making the playoffs. I heard you could get a first and a third.
You can get a first-round pick for that guy. Yeah,
so he does you no good. Like, he's there for no reason, except to hurt your draft capital, and you're desperate for a quarterback. So it doesn't make any. And by the way, I heard a guy from Vegas talking about it this morning. Apparently, he did it because Mark Davis did it because he doesn't like the fans being mad at him.
Well, that's probably part of it. Yeah.
Well, that's no way to run a business.
No, I know, but that is exactly how reactionary a lot of these guys are.
He's an idiot. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's truly a moron. So no more of this. He's not a moron. He's a moron. He's a terrible owner. Mm-hmm. And if fine. First of all, why'd you promise the guy you were going to give him another season? I don't understand it. And then why'd you fire? You fired him. Fine. I'm not mad at. I wouldn't be mad at Davante Adams, but I would have said to my GM, trade Davante Adams today. I want you to trade him. But nothing. I don't want to pay him. He doesn't belong on this team. He doesn't want to be here. Go trade him to a contender. I would have done it. That's exactly what I would have done. And I would have said, I want it done by 4:00.
And I wonder if maybe that was the edict and they didn't get it done. And that's one of the reasons they got traded.
Yeah, but I don't know why you would fire McDaniels. And I don't know. It's not like their season's going to get much better. I don't think.
Well, McDaniels was signed for 6 years at the beginning of last season. So that means he's going to get a buttload of money to do nothing for the next 4.5 years. Think about it. Between him and Gruden, think of all the money Mark Davis is paying coaches right now not to coach.
Right. And Gruden, wasn't his fault, obviously. But, and I don't think he wanted to do that. But this was really stupid.
But during McDaniel's time with the Raiders, the team went 9-16, 2 of those wins being against the Patriots.
Yep.
And you have to remember, the year before McDaniels got there, the Raiders, they were a playoff team. And McDaniels was hired to get them over the hump, but he's been at the helm for some of the team's most embarrassing losses. I was reading this article kind of going through his tenure there. There was that game where Vegas blew a 20-0 halftime lead against Arizona for the biggest collapse in franchise history. Do you remember when the Colts just for some weird-ass Jim Irsay reason brought in Jeff Saturday to be their head coach for like a minute? And remember, the only team they beat
Were the Raiders.
were the Raiders.
Yeah.
At which, once again, Jeff Saturday, someone who had never coached above the high school level, they ended up coming in. And then, of course, there was the double-digit lead that they blew to Baker Mayfield and the Rams 2 days after Mayfield joined the team. So we had no idea what he's doing. They still beat him. And then they got shut out in New Orleans on a game where the offense failed to cross the 50-yard line at any point.
Yeah, he's a terrible head coach. He's a really bad head coach.
I was just going to say, that's it. He's not. He had 2 chances. He quit on a third before he started. That's it.
Oh, no, you can't hire him.
No,
There's too many people like football.
I mean, Denver fired him in his second season.
He coached more games for
maybe
Denver,
it was
apparently.
his third. Maybe it was.
It might have been his
He
second
coached
season.
28 games for 25 for the Raiders, 28
So it was his
for
second
Denver.
season. He
Yeah.
had that great start and then spun into a ditch, and now he failed miserably here, and he'll be in Foxborough by the weekend.
I think he's going
to pay him.
I think he's going to.
No, this is what the Patriots do. They'll bring him on as a consultant. You remember after he got fired in Denver? I'm sorry, he got fired as the offensive coordinator of the St. Louis Rams. I think it was like 12 years
ago. Do you think that's cool to do that to Bill O'Brien?
Why
not?
I
don't think so.
You're 2-6. Everything's on the table here.
First of all, I don't think McDaniels is going to come here this year. I thought you were being a little facetious.
No, I bet you he does. I'm not being facetious.
I think he waits till next year when he works with Bill Belichick with the Commanders.
I can't.
Okay.
He can't do that.
You can't bring him.
I remember.
That would be so embarrassing.
Was Bill O'Brien the offensive coordinator in 2011?
It's not so much the Patriots can't do it. If I was the Patriots, I'd do it. What my point is, if you're Josh McDaniels, go to Europe, like do something, get away. Don't get your face off of TV for a while. Let this stink get off of you.
This is wild, Fred. I know that not everyone's paying attention to every snap of Raiders football, but listen to how bad this offense has been. So, I mean, first of all, think of the explosive talent that you've got on that offensive side.
Yeah, you had the best running. You had I think
last year's
the best running back.
You did.
Statistically, you have Devontae Adams, who people before this year many people considered him, a top 3 receiver in the NFL.
So Vegas is the 31st ranked team in yards per game, 32nd in rushing yards per game, and ranked 30th in points scored per game. Devontae Adams had 1 catch for 11 yards at Detroit, has not caught a touchdown pass since week 3. While Jacobs, Fred, I know you're talking about him, he's yet to record a 100-yard rushing game this season. And at one point during the Bills game where they got blown out, he got -2 yards.
Yeah, Jacobs led the NFL in rushing last season.
Well, thank you for paying attention. That is something that I just said.
No, I know that. I'm amazed that
you were so amazed by it that you.
I'm amazed that this happened.
No, well, I'm
amazed that Mark Davis actually did this.
I mean, it just wouldn't. I don't get. First of all, the trade deadline. This is getting back to the Raiders, but the trade deadline is way too early, and it's ridiculous. It's no fun because there's too many teams like Denver that, because they beat Kansas City, think all of a sudden they're in it, and so they don't make any moves. So it's no fun. So it's got to be later. And second of all, if you're Vegas and Mark Davis, if you know you're going to fire everyone, get rid of Devontae Adams. Or don't fight, or in any scenario, get rid of Devontae Adams.
Would it be a situation where he's sitting in the Changs at dinner? It's like, you get more and more pissed as you're sitting there.
Oh, you think that he acted
impulsively? Then his 30-year-old girlfriend's like, you know what? You should just fire everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Damn it, that's a good idea.
Although you think he might have acted
McDaniels on the phone.
You think he might have been impulsive? Yeah, with his background.
Although,
yes.
what if you're sitting there thinking to yourself that this is all Josh McDaniels' fault? Like, he's just that bad, and if we got a good coach in here, maybe with this talent we could do something
all
special.
I know is this is like when the Jets fired their GM after the draft. This is it's even worse in a way because you had 2 people that were hearing rumblings. They obviously knew they weren't overly loved there, and you let them go through a trade deadline where they didn't do anything ostensibly, I guess, to protect their jobs, to win more games, when it would have been by far in your best interest to move at least Devontae Adams.
I haven't looked at Vegas odds, but I guarantee you right now at the very top of the list, Harbaugh's got to be the top name to take that gig.
Harbaugh's the top name to take.
I think they like the Pierce guy that they put in there.
Antonio
Linebackers
Pierce.
coach.
Antonio Pierce.
Who's like, it's like super football hard-on guy.
He's the interim head coach. By the way, Hunter Renfrow, he caught 103 passes last year. I'm sorry, in 2021, but he has just 10 receptions.
I have no
this
idea
season.
what's going on with Hunter Renfrow, but apparently no one wanted him. And I can't tell you why.
Well, all I know is that Josh McDaniels is the luckiest man alive. Rumor is that he was making $10 million a year, so he gets almost $45 million to just do nothing.
Yeah, he can't come to the Patriots.
Gruden had like a 10-year, $100 million contract.
He did,
when
Because,
signed it.
and by the way, this is like the least rich owner of any owner. Like, this is a guy with very little like pocket money. This is a guy whose only asset is, and I know it's a big asset, but we're talking in the world of ownership. So we're talking about the very elite. This is a guy whose only asset is the Raiders. This isn't a guy that made $1 billion in oil and then as a lark picked up an NFL team.
Yeah.
I mean, and so this is the guy that can least afford. This is out of pocket money. Like this guy is paying two coaches. I mean, he's a real idiot. Boy, is he dumb. What? You guys didn't make any moves because you were afraid I was going to fire you. So I'm going to fire you after the move should have been made.
I want to hear what happened in that meeting because that was, I guess it was on Sunday. Was it Sunday, the day before Monday Night Football, that they had this whole let's air it out type of meeting where Josh McDaniels just said, say whatever you want. And I guess it didn't go so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, say whatever you want.
No, we think
all right, let's get into the multiverse.
We think you suck.
Well, first of all, Archie and Jughead, I don't buy their friendship. Can you imagine airing it out with that moron?
Didn't McDaniels also bench Derek Carr for the last couple of games?
Yeah.
Well,
this
he
season
forced
last year?
Derek Carr out of town with no other plan at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
no,
is-
that was at the end of last season.
And
Yeah.
that's, I think, why Zeigler got fired, is that the idea that, okay, you want to move on from Derek Carr, but remember they were scrambling for a quarterback at the end, and they ended up with Garoppolo, and Garoppolo was a disaster.
I'm wondering, Fred, if the plan was to bring Brady in there. Like if that was the whole Hail Mary of having Josh McDaniels and the whole thing with Derek Carr. I'm wondering if that was a Hail Mary to get him there.
Well, maybe they might have wanted Brady, but there was also the option of Lamar Jackson. There was also the option of
There were a
getting
lot of
Aaron
quarterbacks
Rodgers.
they could have gone and gotten.
I mean, like you said, they weren't a bad team. So if they felt that they were a quarterback away, I did what they did didn't make any sense.
3-5, a better record than your New England Patriots.
Well,
And they're a mess.
We'll get into the Patriots because now nationally people are just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if, oh man, you know how much the Crafts love Josh McDaniels. And I know that Gerard Mayo is essentially set up to become the next coach.
He's not good. No. After two horrendous disappointments.
that would be great because they could just then
No.
they would have no fans. They would go from having the most entitled fans in football to none. If they hired Josh McDaniels as coach, then they could because then they wouldn't have to worry about building any more things in the stadium because no one would be there. So they could
Oh, that brand new suite.
Yeah.
Bunch of suites where the lighthouse is empty.
all of a sudden the lighthouse is the big thing, and
Yeah.
it's not, and it's in the summer.
That's
now.
a
It's not
tourist
when you're
attraction.
playing.
Hey, let's go to the lighthouse.
Yeah,
Right.
all of a sudden that stadium becomes the lighthouse and not the
Yeah,
stadium. Because
exactly.
if they hire Josh McDaniels, because they're going to suck for a while now. I mean, they are. And so they're I don't know who you think's coming on this team to make it better, but like they're going to suck.
Josh
for,
McDaniels.
Right. So they're gonna just like Bill O'Brien. So they just like making the coordinator moves. So there's no talent on this team, and they're not getting any. And so they just aren't going to be good for a while. And so then you go, but you could sell hope. You know, you take a quarterback. You even if you put Mayo as coach, he's kind of this unknown. I mean, what do we know? So you put Mayo as coach. You draft a quarterback. You're building. There's a new attitude in Foxborough. You're building it. You're marketing it right. You bring in Josh McDaniels, you might as well just say, like, good thing we're not printing out tickets because we're saving trees. Because would you keep your season tickets? Honestly, would you keep your season tickets? If you had season tickets to the Patriots, you were paying how many thousands of dollars for season tickets?
Yeah.
Would you keep them after when you know they're going to suck for a couple more years and then he brought in Josh McDaniel?
No.
I would get rid of my season tickets. So no,
The people, in that case, the people that keep them are just the people that have always gone. You know
well,
what I mean?
then you're
They
just
have
going
it.
because like your friends
Well,
go.
that's the thing. That's the reason you would keep them.
Which is fine, but you're not going to watch
Yeah.
football.
By the way, Josh McDaniels, when he got fired in St. Louis, came here. The offensive coordinator was Bill O'Brien in 2011.
I'm not saying the Patriots wouldn't love to have him. I'm telling you that Josh McDaniels has got to just for a while.
I
remove
agree,
himself
but I
from
bet you
football.
he's back here within the next 2 weeks.
That would be very interesting. I disagree, but what do I know? I mean, this is again opinion. I don't know. So if I don't want to tell
If
you're
anyone
wrong.
needs a break from football, it's him. After this mess, this debacle, this disaster.
If I was in his family, I'd be like, dude, just get away. Just enjoy life. Yeah. Like really,
$45 million.
Yeah, prioritize your health.
Yeah.
Like go and get away from football. for a while.
But take a look at it. I'm still going to get paid. I'm a consultant with the Patriots. I have no job.
Get away from football.
Yeah.
Get away from cameras. Get away. Work on yourself. Go take a meditation retreat or something. Go
to the Aaron
away.
Rodgers dark